Hello, hello, hello. I don't know if anybody can hear me. I don't even know if chat is working. Let's see. Sorry, guys. This is the first time I've ever really done anything like this. Let's see. I hope everybody's day is going well. It is Friday, December 23rd, literally 2 days before Christmas. And I know everybody's probably doing their Christmas stuff. Or getting prepared for it. And so I just kind of wanted to keep it nice and sweet and simple and not do a whole lot of craziness. But I figured if anybody was interested, that I could go over a few things. You could ask me anything you want, kind of get to know me. I'm sure you've seen me do a few of these videos, or just upload videos on Bryce's page. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Angelica Renaud from the Math Magician Bookkeeping. I'm one of the students in Bryce's coaching program. I make videos on here pretty frequently for him, just kind of talking about the actual program and things that I've learned that has helped my business. And so if you wanted to get to know me better or know certain things that, you just have certain questions about your business, I would love to help. So let's see if anyone shows up. I'll give it a few minutes, and if no one jumps on, then no big deal. But yeah, it's just it's 9 degrees here where I'm at in Tennessee, and I live out of my little school bus tiny home. I've got my little wood stove going right here. Probably need to crank it down just a little bit. But yeah, so I live in my little tiny home, and it's quite cold outside. My little toes are freezing off, but any hoodles. I don't know why this says that it was unable to connect to chat. But we'll see. So I have been working on a few things because it is close to the end of the year, and so I'm getting a lot of my client stuff prepped and ready to go, so that way I don't have to worry about their stuff being taken care of whenever tax season comes around, because that's only a few months from now, and I like to have everybody's stuff prepared beforehand so that I no longer have to worry about that. Give it a few minutes here, see if anybody shows up. I'll give it till 10 minutes, and then if no one shows up, then I will just end this stream. Hi, whoever joined. If you are joining, type something in the chat. I'm going to see if chat actually works because it says it's unable to connect to chat, but let's see if it works. Hi, how's it going? I'm just chilling here. I don't know if you've ever seen my videos before on here, but yeah, I just figured since it's kind of a nice chill day before the holiday, just gonna get on here. People want to ask me stuff in the chat. I can try to give as much information as I can. If you have questions about how to grow your bookkeeping business and you feel like you're stuck, or if you've just seen my videos and you want to just kind of get to know me or Bryce a little bit more, I could give you information on that. But yeah, not a lot going on today, just trying to stay warm. Oh, wow, in London. Cool. Do you have your own bookkeeping business already? What's the weather like in London right now? Oh, okay, cool. Well, do you have questions about bookkeeping or anything like that? Yeah, I am. So if anyone's watching this later, Simon asked, "Are you happy you chose this path with bookkeeping?" Yes, I am. So I don't know if other people have seen my videos before. I kind of talked a little bit about my journey. But basically, yeah, when I was younger, wanted to be a wildlife rehabilitator. And so I got a job as a vet tech and thought that's my career path that I wanted to choose for a while. Did not work out very well. The hours and the amount of time it would take for me to actually get to that point was just way too much. And things in life just started changing quite a bit. And then a few years later, I actually decided I wanted to become a makeup artist. So I decided to pursue that. And it actually worked out decently, but where I was at, I just couldn't get a lot of clientele. And that's usually the hardest part, especially for bookkeepers too. But yeah, it wasn't until my cousin, she's a CPA in Texas. She has her own business. She ended up getting pregnant and she needed some assistance with bookkeeping. And she knew that I was kind of slow with my makeup stuff at the time. And she saw that I had decent work ethic though. And so she was like, if I could train you on how to do categorizing and reconciling, is that something you'd be interested in? I was like, I don't know anything about that kind of stuff, but I like math. So sure, why not? And so I ended up choosing that path. And yeah, I worked at an accounting firm for a little while to get more experience after she no longer needed me after she gave birth. But it was just one of those things that yes, basically, I am happy that I took this path. It has given me a lot of opportunities. I mean, I'm sitting at home right now, whereas I know that usually with other jobs, I'd probably have to be in person. I mean, even at the accounting firm I worked at, I had to be there in person. And so being able to kind of have my own freedom, wake up whenever I want, do whatever I want. I'm sitting here in my pajamas right now. I mean, I got a shirt on, but yeah, in my pajamas, just nice and cozy, but being able to do what I want, yes, I am happy. It's opening up a lot of opportunities for me and my husband. The whole point of having the school bus is to be able to eventually travel around the country. And so my husband has been a mechanic pretty much all his life. And I've had the opportunity in the past few months to train him on just bookkeeping and reconciling, just more of the simple side of bookkeeping. That way I can get more clients and be able to kind of share some of the workload with him so that I get more complicated stuff out of the way, but he can handle like the daily, weekly, monthly, like little things. But I'm kind of at the point right now where I don't fully trust contracting my work out to someone yet. I don't really know how I feel about having employees under me. And I know in order to grow my business, that's something I'm going to have to do and something I struggle with. Something that Bryce definitely recommends is subcontracting your work out. That way you can just keep growing. But if there's anything holding me back, it's probably myself. But to answer your question blatantly, yes, I am happy that I did this. It gives me the freedom. It scratches that itch. It's a very satisfying job for me. There's moments that it can get a little monotonous and stuff, but it's a pretty easygoing job. You said you're in the fitness industry. I often think there's more certainty in accounting and bookkeeping. It seems more black and white. For the most part, yes. Okay, you'll be transitioning to shift industry and are not quite ready or knowledgeable enough, but that's why you watch my videos. Well, cool. But yeah, bookkeeping definitely has a lot more black and white. Hi, Terry. How's it going? I was just telling Simon here that I just was going to do a video. Ask me anything that you want. If you see my videos before and you want to just ask me a question about my life, if you want to know more about your bookkeeping business, ways, certain tips and things, I may not have all the answers, but yeah. But yeah, everything is a lot more black and white with accounting / bookkeeping. Things are more systematic, I feel like, and that really helps me. I don't know if any of you on here are into like personality tests or anything like that, but my personality test, on the Myers-Briggs, I tested as ISTJ, and Enneagram, I am a 1, which means that I'm a perfectionist, and then the ISTJ means I'm introverted, sensing, thinking, judging, and that means that I am very systematic, almost robotic in certain things. I like to get to the point quite a bit, even though I ramble a lot. But yeah. So if anybody, like I said, has any questions about anything, feel free. I'm just kind of keeping it chill because Christmas is right around the corner and it's cold here right now. I'm just kind of cozy. And if y'all have suggestions for videos, like a topic that you want me to cover, I'm more than happy to do that. I'm always open to suggestions or certain struggles you may have, But yeah, I basically am making these videos for Bryce because I'm one of the students in his program. And I found him back in May, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with my business. There was a client that I had that was paying me a decent amount of money that I had just recently lost. Like they sold their business to someone else, and the person who bought their business brought in their own bookkeeper. And once that happened, I was panicking. And so I reached out to Bryce. I saw his videos on YouTube and felt like, hey, I'm going to, reach out to him and see if he can help, just kind of take a chance. And so far, I've been able to triple my profit since starting with him. And like I said earlier, sometimes the only thing holding me back is myself, just because I don't want to get so many clients to the point where I'm overwhelmed, but I'm also trying to train my husband so that him and I can work together. And this time of year is already just kind of slow, with the holidays and stuff. But I guarantee you, come January, things will pick back up and it'll be chaotic and crazy. But yeah, just last week, I actually got a new client. This young boy has a painting business here in Tennessee, 2 different locations, and he signed up with me. And so that was really cool. And then I have a consultation next Thursday with a girl who does wedding planning. So all kinds of different opportunities opening up. But Terry said they're still at work. Yeah, I mean, Everybody left. My boss is about to sell this business. I've been offered to go with the new owner. However, I want to launch my own business. There is a lot of freedom that comes from having your own business. I kind of knew from a long time ago that I always wanted to kind of break out on my own. I'm an only child and have always been very independent. Even with my husband and I am very independent. I mean, we're up here on this property with this school bus tiny home. We're living off of solar, off the grid. So we have to haul our water and everything else. And I'll go out there and chop wood for our wood stove and all kinds of stuff. So I'm, pretty independent and capable. And obviously he helps me too. But there's a lot of independence that I enjoy from having my own business. So it's really honestly up to you and what you want. There is some struggle, and you have to have the confidence to be able to charge what you're worth. That is the one thing I think I would change at the beginning is I felt so unsure of myself. Yes, Simon, I have read the E-Myth Bookkeeper. And I do feel like, yes, it is something that you want to look into, is to build your business up into a profitable business if, you ever want to turn that over. I'm not personally at that stage right now. I'm still such a baby in having my own business that's actually been successful for once that, yeah. But on and off, working on mine, no clients yet. I know QuickBooks Desktop like the back of my hand, so QuickBooks Online seems so simple to me that it bothers you. Almost 60, ready to retire from leaving every day to go to work. Been thinking about what you're doing off grid. I've always wondered if it's even possible. Not sure if I could do off grid. Yeah, it's challenging. Literally, Tennessee hardly ever gets a bunch of rain, and like 2 weeks ago, it was like nonstop rain, which meant that our solar collection was complete garbage. And then also, like the water situation is fine. Like we have to go get our own like drinking water, and my parents live not too far, so I go over there and do my clothes, and I feel like a college student. Like I'm gonna go to my parents and do my clothes and get my drinking water, and I'll hang out with them, of course. But yeah, basically, yeah, the off grid though, it's fun. It's fine. As long as I have internet and I'm able to do work, that's all that I care about, pretty much. But yeah, our solar, whenever it's cloudy, we just have to run a generator at night for like an hour, and that kind of sucks. But we're kind of getting to a point where we're able to do stuff. We also have a little wind turbine where it collects wind power as well and then trickles into our batteries. But yeah, I mean, if you're QuickBooks Desktop is, I've heard it so many ways where QuickBooks Desktop is simple to people that already know it, and QuickBooks Online scares them. But people like me that I am more familiar with QuickBooks Online than QuickBooks Desktop, I feel like QuickBooks Online is more simple than desktop. But I guess to say to that, if you're wanting to go out on your own, you can't be scared of anything. Like I'm kind of at the point right now where I'm willing to learn any and every software because it makes me more valuable to everybody. Granted, I have more familiarity with like QuickBooks Online, and I am actually doing a subcontracting job with a company that uses QuickBooks Desktop, and that's fine. But just I would say don't be scared, don't limit yourself. And I think I've heard some rumors that QuickBooks Desktop is about to stop doing desktop version and go kind of all the way to just using QuickBooks Online. So that's something to think about as well. Let's see. I really don't know if I want to go to the new one, but not enough to save to do that. Yeah, we did live in an RV for about 2.5, 3 years, and the reason we decided to get a school bus is because the RV that we bought it used, and unfortunately the slide out floor where the couch was, there was water damage previously that they fixed, but the slide out where our couch was, the floor was literally falling out. And at the time we couldn't afford to do anything. So we put jack stands underneath our floor, and we made do with it. But we realized pretty quickly on that RVs are just not meant to be lived out of unless you're willing to spend a pretty penny on them. But yeah, I personally would try to figure something else out unless you're willing to go like really expensive with an RV. because living out of ours full time, they're just cheaply made. They're not made to be lived in all the time. But at least with the school bus, we could kind of have a nice metal structure to kind of make our own. We did everything on our own in here, all these walls, the bricks, everything in here. We pretty much did ourselves, the ceiling. So yeah. Do you do much any in-person work or more remote? So I do pretty much everything remote. That is another thing that I love about my job and the freedom that it gives me. Like I said, I wanted to do makeup artistry, and it's still a big passion of mine. I still love doing makeup artistry, and I'll never stop because it's like that creative itch for me. But as far as the schedule and doing everything, it was like, I'm already a pretty introverted person. I may not seem like it on camera, but in person, I'm very like, I don't want to do this. And also having to work weekends and all that other stuff, it was just not up my alley. And so one of the main things that made me want to break out on my own with the bookkeeping was realizing that I could do it remotely, because whenever my cousin reached out to me, I still lived 3 hours away from her, and I was able to do everything remotely. And I was like, this is the coolest thing that I could do that. And so that's when I really started to get into it. But yeah, I do pretty much everything remote. There are a few clients that I will go out to. But like, I live in Tennessee and I live near Chattanooga, so like the south part. And most of my clients are in Nashville, which is about 3.5 hours away from me. And there's some that I have never even seen. I was just thinking about it today that I have a client that I've never even seen before. We've only spoken on the phone, and we've developed a pretty strong relationship over the phone. But like, there is a company, the company I said I do subcontracting work for, they have their own bookkeeper, but their books were quite a mess. And so there's a company in town that their cousin actually was going to hire me for doing their books, but then that fell through and they decided to have me help. And so they're paying me like a little bit to kind of help out with this other bookkeeper that they have. Do I have a problem with getting going every day? Yes, I do. Not necessarily like getting going every day. That's not my issue. It's more so staying focused, and also like, this sounds really stupid, but feeding myself, because I am more than happy hopping up, feeding the animals, taking the dog out to potty, coming back in and getting started on work. I'm not a huge breakfast person, and so that's usually my downfall, is if I have to stop what I'm doing to like make myself food. Most of the time, if I make myself a meal, I'll like want to watch TV while I'm eating, especially if I'm here alone by myself. And it's a habit that I need to stop doing. But usually once that starts, it's very hard for me to get like back motivated. Being the wife, the woman of the house, and being at home all the time, it can be very distracting to see the dishes and be like, oh, I need to do the dishes, when I could just wait till later on in the evening. But once my husband's home, I don't want to do it. And so there's times that I can get distracted with things that aren't work related. But like this week, I've been very good because we're coming up on the end of the year, and I'm trying to make sure everybody's stuff is as close to being done as possible. That way, come tax season, they don't even have to worry about waiting on me. Everything's just done. So yeah, I have about 8 clients right now, and some of them have 2 locations that I do. Do I charge more for going to the locations? Sometimes. There was a company up in Knoxville, which is about an hour and a half from here, and I would add the mileage that I did onto their invoice at the end of the year. And there's times if I know that that's going to be part of the deal, like in the initial consultation, I'll usually rack up the price based off of that. Bryce has it's called a pricing calculator, and it really kind of goes through every single thing, and you can add certain things in there, like if they need business advisory, if they need to be going to a location, so on and so forth. How far will I travel? That's about it. Was the hour and a half, and I did that once a month, and it got very, very tiring over time. And that was a QuickBooks desktop one that they didn't want to do remote work. So I usually try my hardest to do remote work, and I don't really like to travel that far for anything else. But yeah, I mean, yeah. When it comes to new clients, do you do background checks for legitimacy or require down payments? It's a good question. Do I do background checks for legitimacy? So I don't necessarily do background checks. I guess like I do a soft check. I will usually look into the company, see how legitimate they are. If they've got a website, which I know you could still kind of fake a website, but if they have a website, if they're on LinkedIn or Alignable, if they have recommendations, I usually like to look into that. And then it's very important to have that initial consultation to get a good feel for it and see how you feel about it. And then I do require a down payment. Yes. So usually it's going to be part of the cleanup cost, but I will require payment up front. I have been burned in the past where I have just been like, oh, I'll do the work and then you pay me at the end of the month. So no, now I have everybody pay me up front, and I will not do the work unless they've paid me. It's just, unfortunately, I don't like doing that to people, but unfortunately how it goes sometimes. You don't want to put in all your effort into this and then someone leave you hanging. I had a client one time that did not pay me like $600 of work, and they were willing to like go to court over it and everything, and it was crazy. I do bill on the first of the month, usually. If I have someone that wants to sign up with me right then and there, then I will do the cleanup cost, I guess, down payment right then and there, the day that they sign up. I have a process where I'll do the consultation, and then depending on how soon they want to work with me, I'll immediately get my little bookkeeping agreement set up and sent out to them. And along with the bookkeeping agreement, I send them a credit card authorization form and a user login form. Because with the credit card authorization form, that means that I can just bill them on the first of the month. I don't have to worry about necessarily sending out an invoice and waiting for it to get paid. I just have their card on file that I can run, and I make sure I get their permission, obviously, and their credit card information stored in a safe place. And then also the user login. Usually the biggest thing that I have to wait on for clients to give me is their bank statements. So I've kind of gotten into a point now where I pretty much require them to give me either their user login info or them to set up an accountant only user login for me where I can just only view their bank statements, because it's very frustrating when I'm like trying to get done with the month and they don't have their stuff ready for me. So I've learned that to streamline the process, just do that, put the expectations out there immediately right during the consultation. If they're actually interested, I kind of let them know the process, and then I will not do anything until they sign that bookkeeping agreement. And then, like I said, with the subcontracting job, I gave them an engagement letter. I did not do any work until that engagement letter was signed. I try my hardest to keep things on a very legal level. That way I don't get burnt, and that way they don't get burnt. Let's see. Do I use Google Docs for forms? I use Google Forms for a form that I have. I don't know that I can show my screen, but there is a form that I use. I think I've shown it in a different video, but all the questions that are on the form actually correlate with that pricing calculator that I was talking about. And like everything on the pricing calculator is like, how many transactions per month do you have? How many accounts? How many loans? Is there someone else I need to talk to? And so I have all of these questions laid out in that form and kind of multiple choice. That way they have an opportunity to answer that. And usually as soon as they set up a consultation with me through Calendly or whatever link it is, I will require them to fill out that form. And that kind of gives me an idea ahead of time. That way, before the consultation even happens, if that form is filled out, I can actually go through the pricing calculator and enter in all those answers. And that'll give me a really good estimation of how much I need to charge them. Sometimes it gives me a good idea of if that client's worth my time. Sometimes whenever we do the consultation, like if I put in all that information, it's only going to be like $100 a month, and I'm like, I don't know that that's worth my time, but I usually will do the consultation to figure out more information, obviously, from that. How do I stay organized? Wanting to use Google Drive for all clients, a folder for each. So I tried to use Google Drive, and for one, it got expensive. Well, actually, no, I'm thinking of Dropbox. Google Drive is okay. I wanted to share documents with my clients, though, and with Google Drive, it got very complicated very fast. And so what I use, and I made a video about it a few weeks ago, is an app called Keeper. It's like Keeper tasks specifically for bookkeepers, and it is the coolest thing ever. But I'm able to upload statements and upload any files for them, make a management report for my clients, and then they're also able to send me any information in there as well. If I have any questions on any uncategorized expense, I can strictly ask them a question straight from that, and it will actually show all the details from QuickBooks in that. So that's how much. How much is Keeper? I believe it's $10 a client, however many clients you want to put in there. Like right now I have 8 clients, but I only have about 5 files in there because not all of them need all those tasks, but the Keeper task is very good. And I do have actually a discount code for Keeper. I can't remember what percentage it gives you, but if you sign up, you get a percentage with that. And that's actually, the link is in the Keeper video here on YouTube. But how do I stay organized? Mostly the Keeper app. Yes, thank you, Simon. I hope I was able to answer your questions, and maybe next month I'll do another one of these live videos. I honestly wasn't sure if anyone would show up. Do I keep the cost or charge the client? I just keep the cost. It's nothing too crazy for me. That's another really a thing about bookkeeping that I was really excited about, is the overhead is pretty low. It's just literally my laptop and like a few other expenses that I choose to do, like little software things. If I'm having to pay for someone's QuickBooks online subscription, then I will charge them for that. But do I keep the cost or charge the client? How do I stay organized? So hold on 1 second. I've got to swish this around real fast. Probably need to put some more wood in there real quick. Hold on, guys. Sorry. All right. How do I stay organized? For the 20th time in a row, I usually will use Keeper to help me stay organized, because there's so many tasks that you can put in there that are very helpful. I would seriously suggest watching that video because it's helpful. But I guess, how do I stay organized on a daily basis? I basically look at what client is a priority and really get started on that. Like, I have a client that I received back in August, and they had quite an extensive cleanup that I've already charged them for, but I'm still working on cleaning up a lot of their accounts payable, stuff from like way back in 2021 that was never taken care of. And so basically I will write things down on my little whiteboard that I have on my fridge, and it kind of helps me stay organized that way. And then I also will just kind of make that client a priority for that specific day, and usually get my week going like that, where there's more importance set on this person, whereas this person, they may just need a quick categorization and reconciliation. And like I said, I'm training my husband how to do that, so he's been helping me with some of those things so I can focus on getting more of the complications out of the way. But do I have any cautions or red flags that would prevent me from taking on a potential client? Let me think about that one. If they're being really pushy, there was a client that I actually had agreed to do work with, and obviously I'm a woman, and They were a single man that had been recently divorced, and he started calling me about personal things. And I told him, no, we need to keep this on a professional basis. I will not work with someone who is trying to basically try to get with me. And so I was like, this is a professional business. I agree to work with you on a professional way. So I will not stand for you trying to contact me in this manner. He got all silly and ended up terminating his account because I wouldn't work with him. And I was like, well, good riddance. So I guess red flags like that. I didn't really know at the beginning, but I'm a lot more cautious now. Let's see, what other red flags? I guess just if someone's being really pushy. I've had a few people reach out to me through email wanting to set up a consultation, and it's just like a really weird, like one sentence thing where it's like, hi, I would like to schedule a meeting with you. And they're not actually being legitimate. They're like trying to scam me. So that kind of stuff. Sometimes people will give you access to their books if you can during a consultation. And you work with QuickBooks Online or Xero or anything like that, cloud-based. If you can have them give you access as an accountant user to be able to look at their books, then that is usually a really good in to just be in with it. But if you can look at their books and see sometimes if there's way more work involved than you had originally thought, then that could be kind of an issue. But mostly I just kind of go with a gut feeling, as hard as that is to explain. Let's see. How did I start and find my first client? So as I was saying earlier, I was introduced to bookkeeping through my cousin, and then I was interested from there, worked at an accounting firm for a little while. And the way that I got my first client was actually getting on Google Maps, looking up specific industries. So painting, construction, electrical. I really wanted to get in with makeup artists and photographers because I obviously loved makeup artistry, and I knew there were probably a lot of photographers that needed bookkeeping, and I was kind of aware of the industry and how it worked. But I looked up a lot of different industries and every little place that was around me, and knowing that I was going to be doing remote things, I would literally get on and just search like every city pretty much in the country as much as possible and find their website, find their email, and then email them. And hold on a second. Sorry, there was weird messages. And then I would reach out to people though through their emails and just let them know, hi, I'm a new bookkeeper in the area. Are you or anybody that you know looking for any bookkeeping services? And that's how I got my first client. How do I advertise? So I actually have changed up my advertising a lot since working with Bryce. I used to use an app called Thumbtack, and I would have to pay for leads. And that's how I got majority of my clients. But the majority of the clients I got were not very high paying clients. It was probably like $100 to $150 a month. That ever since I started implementing Bryce's strategies, I mostly reach out to people on LinkedIn, Alignable, a few people on Facebook. But I really use just kind of making connections and then just kind of proceeding to go to build those connections, asking if they need any help. But yeah, mostly making connections. That's like the biggest thing. And it's the scariest thing if you're a introvert. But yeah, that's basically how I go about it. There, like with the guy that I received as a client last week, I literally had reached out to him through my automated LinkedIn software, and it just asked if he would be interested in connecting. And immediately, just from that connection, he wanted to work with me, wanted to set up a consultation. So sometimes it's just easy as that. You don't have to go through a whole spiel and like give them their whole life story. Usually it's something as easy as that, because if people are going to need that bookkeeping, then they'll need it. If not, then they don't need it, and that's fine. They may eventually, and you'll be a good contact for them to refer back to. And then I also, like, towards the end of the year, I've been trying to spend a little bit more. That way I don't get messed up on taxes. But lately I've been advertising. I have a ad on a radio station that has been playing for the past 2 weeks. And then I also have an ad like in a golf course nearby. And both of these companies reached out to me to see if I'd be interested in putting an ad there. And so I figured, why not? I haven't had any luck with it so far, but I figured I would try it, so spend a little bit of money in the business. But mostly the way that I get clients effectively is by reaching out through LinkedIn, Alignable, so on, and making good connections with people. Do I only do accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, sales tax, inventory? So pretty much. So handle the regular categorizing, regular bookkeeping tasks, including the accounts receivable, payroll, sales tax, inventory. I actually don't have a lot of experience with inventory. I've only been introduced to it a few times, and it's been on like a very low level. But yeah, pretty much everything else except for I do not do any type of income tax. It's something I'd eventually like to learn. Business cards, do you keep them on you and hand out to everybody? Yes, I do. I don't hand them to everybody when I'm out and about, but I usually do try to keep some on me. Let's see if I got this little thing off of Amazon, and I like to keep it with me whenever I go places. But it's just my little business card holder, and so I can just take them out and just throw them at someone. But I'll go to certain restaurants, hand out my business card. I did actually have one of the restaurants we frequent. I handed them a business card, and then a few months later, they contacted me. Nothing ever came of it, but I did have a consultation with them, and so that was really cool. But yeah, I will try to mention my stuff. I'm very bad about trying to sell myself when I'm in person with people. It's just awkward for me. But if I can like sneakily just be like, hi, I have some business cards. Do you mind if I drop them off here at your location? Then that's usually a pretty easy way. And 9 times out of 10, the business owner or whoever is there is going to be like, yeah, sure. What kind of business do you have? And I'll tell them. And if they're interested, they're interested. And if not, then I just kind of move on. You can be more forceful with it. I don't necessarily. I love craft shows. I was thinking about giving them to the vendors in chat. Yeah, you could certainly do that. I guess with some of these craft shows though, because basically one of Bryce's things that he always says is to focus on quality, not quantity. So if you're talking to someone at a craft show that they're a pretty small business, there's a good possibility they may not be able to pay for what you want to ask out of it. But there are some crafters that make really good money, and so do whatever you have to do. But yeah, I mean, starting out, getting your first client is usually the hardest, and then from there it just gets a little bit easier. And then asking your clients for recommendations or reviews. Like I just got a review the other day from one of my clients. That's another thing I'm awkward about, is just having anybody kind of like praise me. I get weird of asking like, hey, can you say how awesome I am? Like that's not something I'm into. But it is very much appreciated whenever people do take the time to do that. And I got a really good review. And so those are things that are really helpful. And of course, just trying to be as good as I can be with that. Let's see. Any other questions? How do you estimate how much time to spend on each client? So the pricing calculator that I was talking about earlier, depending on the questions, it goes based off of the amount of time you put into it. So for instance, for every 50 transactions there are in a month, that's probably